You're listening to an episode of Here We Glow podcast, a community to highlight young professionals in their journey of glowing up. And I'm your host, Ashley Davidson. Here, we'll strive to glow into our best personal and professional selves through education, empowerment, strategy, and transparency. Now let's get glowing. Hey Glowhort, thanks for joining me for another episode of the Here We Glow podcast. Here with me today is the brilliant Kia Smith. Kia is the founding executive artistic director of the South Chicago Dance Theater, a multicultural theater company firmly rooted in the city's South Side, aiming to preserve the art of dance through quality performances and educational opportunities. A Chicago native, Kia trained intensely on scholarship at the Hyde Park School of Dance, the Joel Hall Dance Center, ETA Creative Arts Foundation, and Storycatchers Theater. She is a recipient of the American Dance Festival's tuition and staff assistant scholarships and graduated in 2010 with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance from Western Michigan University. Kia has toured and performed on many stages, nationally and internationally. Her collaborative and choreographic credits include Nike, HBO, Chicago Opera Theater, the Association for the Advancement of Creative Musicians, and many more. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So I just want to start kind of like as an intro to explain, your organization, your company, and kind of how you got to starting your own dance company, nonprofit.
Sure. So I actually started dancing much later in life. I started training when I was 16 years old, and most kids start dance in like a tutu at 3. Yeah. So I always wanted to dance and didn't have the resources to do it. But I got a scholarship to go to Hyde Park School of Dance. And so I trained there in high school, went on to college, and I actually always knew I wanted to have my own company. So I danced for other people's companies, but I always had in the back of my head that I would have my own organization. So we officially were incorporated in 2015. And then in 2017, we launched, and I kind of did everything all at once.
And that's what happens, right?
Yeah. And it's been going really great, and we're kind of on a roll. Things are happening for us, so it's great.
That's awesome. I didn't know that you started dancing so late. That's amazing to be at the level that you are. It's awesome because I think especially dance, it is a type of art. I also think it's like a sport too, depending on the person, but where people think they have to start when they're like a toddler. Yeah. And so that's a great testament that you can be super, super successful.
Yeah.
And
you have to work hard.
Yeah. Not trying to mitigate that at all. You could have a dance company that is just like any other studio that's for profit. You could have had probably anywhere in the city. Why did you specifically choose to have a more community feel and like nonprofit focus to it, which is on the South Side too?
Yeah. So I grew up on the South Side of the city. My family has long history on the South Side of the city. So my grandmother on my father's side came to Chicago during the Great Depression, and my great-grandmother came here during the Great Migration. So it's just a part of our family history being on the South Side. Even though I've moved other places, I've always called it my home. So that's why I wanted to have it on the South Side and call it South Chicago Dance Theater. And so having it being community-based is just because I really care about building relationships. So relationships with people and helping people build relationships. And so for me, the way that you do that is in a community. And so I think the most important aspect of dance is the way that it brings people together. And so that's why I wanted to have a nonprofit and have a community focus to it.
And I see on your website that you have a program that are for younger kids too. And do you think part of the reason that you have that is because you want to provide resources for people who want to start when they're younger, but may not have means or may have to commute far to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Dance is really, really expensive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you're training at one of the larger, like more established studios in the city, you can pay, thousands of dollars per year. And it's great because teachers deserve to be paid well, but not every child's family can afford that amount of, money for classes. And so it was important to me to provide a quality education for the students. So you're getting the same training you would get someplace else, but you're not paying the same amount of money you would have to pay. And so that's important to me because I think a lot of times people think community or outreach, they think, it's just recreational. They're just, hanging out. It's like babysitting, but it's a serious training program.
Yeah.
So I take it very seriously and, I don't know. I enjoy it.
And the program, it's not like a drop-in class type thing. It's an actual, or is it?
It's a year-long program. So I actually go around to different elementary schools. Actually, I'm about to start doing that next month, and I host free workshops, and I call it an audition, but it really is just a chance for me to meet and engage with young students who are interested in dance, and for them to take a free workshop with me. And if I think that they seem like a kid that would want to do the program, I'll give them a scholarship letter, and they can take it home to their families, and they join me the following fall after those workshops for a full year, and then they come back.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. I love working with kids, so
that's pretty great.
Thank you.
Now I want to turn to sort of the business side of things because I'm sure you have great insight to share with people on how to start a company on your own.
Yeah.
How do you go about, setting everything up, making sure you're official?
Sure. There's a lot, and I'm actually learning as I go. The first thing we did was our articles of incorporation through the state of Illinois, and that's super easy. It's like CyberDrive Illinois or something.
Our firm does that sometimes. Yeah, I've done it recently.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you just go on and you choose your company name, and I don't know, it's like some fee that you pay. I don't remember because it feels like forever ago that I did it, but so that's the first thing. And we actually got lucky because when we did our nonprofit actual paperwork, they had just switched over to this 1023 EZ option for the application. So it used to be that you had to do some 500-page document and like you had to sit down with a lawyer to do it. But I literally went online and found it. And I think because we were starting with like not a huge amount of assets, we were able to pay, I think maybe $275 for the application. And it came back quickly.
Oh, wow.
So we did the application maybe like at the end of August, and I got the letter back from the IRS like September 15th. So,
that's amazing.
So,
that's a lot more efficient probably than what it used to be. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all online. That part of it was not difficult. Now, what I will say is that there are things that no one tells you that you also have to do, like other paperwork, like for the state. I think one of them, what is the name of it? It's like a CO1 and CO2 form. So if you're an organization that does fundraising, you also have to do that through the Attorney General's office. But the state of Illinois doesn't tell you that, and the IRS doesn't tell you that. And thankfully, we've only been fundraising for 2 years, so it's not like we've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
But that's something that you also have to do if anyone's interested. Don't forget that part.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you found that out.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy though? Like,
yeah.
You just got to figure it out on your own, or hire someone to do it when it's just a matter of finding out.
Yeah.
And then as far as fundraising, I want to tell this story because the only reason I know Kia is because she called the law firm. Angelia was out. She was studying abroad, I think. Or no, I don't know. She was out of town. And so I answered the phone, and she called talking about potential partnerships for our firm and for your showcase that you have coming up. And, at first, I think when you get a call like that, I was just like, I don't know. And then I asked for the name and the website. I looked at the website. Amazing. I'm like, that's a first impression type of thing, and just read into it. And I'm like, I would love that. I think it was the beginning of Black History Month or something too. So I'm like, I'm sure Kristen would love to do this. Her daughters love dance. Like, everyone loves dance here. So she just called, and she shoot her shot, and now we're partners, and we're going to go to this showcase. So I want to talk about that. How is it that you go about getting funding? I know you were also filling out grant applications and everything.
Yeah. So I just know about performing arts funding and companies and things like that. So there are tons. Actually, the city of Chicago has so many resources for artists. If you're interested in theater or dance or music, there's lots of opportunities to apply for foundational support. You do have to have completed one fiscal year to be eligible. But I've actually just started applying to foundations for support the company. There's also a Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, and they do funding through the city of Chicago. Illinois Arts Council. There's so much funding. But then in terms of finding like corporate partners and sponsors, that's just something I've been doing. I don't have any training in it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I made up a letter that talks about what we do and what we're about and kind of the vision for the future of the company. And I try to make sure that the organizations that I target don't feel like I'm just asking you for money. Because to me, it feels like, what's the point of that? Like, yeah. I like it to be a partnership. So we have a summer business village for South Chicago Dance Theater. So this is the first summer that we're going to have a summer season in the parks. So the professional company will be performing mostly on the south side in public parks for free. And so we're going to have our summer business village tables out. And so everyone that sponsored us, like in kind or cash or whatever, will have their information on those tables. So then people who are, coming to see us can also see these other businesses that maybe they want to patronize.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So try to make it actually be a partnership and not just like asking for money.
And so do you just like find companies or people who you like, well, this might be a fit, and just give them a call?
Yeah. So in terms of for our reception we're having, I definitely asked restaurants and bars and things that are in the area on the south side, because those people are more probably apt to want to donate to an organization that's in their community. But in terms of corporate sponsors, I honestly just like look up, okay, who might want to work with an arts organization? And I've danced with other companies as an artist. And so looking at like other companies and like what kinds of people fund these other companies, like insurance companies, or is it a law firm, or is it, who is sponsoring? And so not like targeting their sponsors, but the kinds of sponsors.
Oh, that makes sense. That's really smart.
That do it. Yeah. So, I don't have all the answers as I just started doing this, but yeah.
That's awesome. And it's just the worst thing that happen is no, but you still get your name out there and your mission out there. And I think that's amazing in itself. And will definitely pay off. It's just such a classic way to do it. And I that's maybe what I loved about your call. So I was like, you could have just sent me an email or something. And it's like, I love that you called. And so I appreciate that. And I also you talked about some of your partnerships. I know for the arts, you focus more on like the community partnerships. Do you see yourself kind of going towards more corporate sponsors like in the future, or do you like kind of those smaller businesses?
I think because we're a new organization, I definitely am more focused on like the more community partnerships. I think it's also very interesting when you are looking at larger corporate sponsors. Actually had not so good of an experience. Last week, it's the weirdest thing. Someone emailed me and said, "Oh, we're looking for students for a performance, like to have kids come perform for an event." And so I was like, "Oh, great!" Like, my kids, I always want to give them exposure for performing and stuff like that. But I call up this organization and they're like, "Oh, we're looking for underprivileged kids to come perform at our gala." And I was like, "What?" I don't think this is something we want to do. So I think it's a matter of, we want to find corporate sponsors. We also want to find people who are genuinely interested in investing in the community and who are not just wanting to, say, "Oh, we did this thing." So like
kind of like a savior complex. There's a big difference between wanting to serve underrepresented groups and it's just like, why are you automatically
looking for?
Yeah,
I know. I was like, my kids actually come from really great families, and I was like, I'm like, they're not underprivileged, I don't think. But so I think it's a matter of finding, the right relationships, I guess. Yeah.
And that's something to learn on, the other side too. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
even if that's something you're looking for, there's great ways to pitch that to the leaders of that organization.
Yeah.
And also, why would you want to do that if you're not genuinely interested?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an organization that may be a better fit for you.
Right.
But that's awesome that you're discerning still and not just sure.
Yeah.
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 So,
yeah.
I also see that you have, the other form of partnerships, a lot of partnerships as far as going to performing at certain events and things like that. How do you build that? Because I think that's a lot of what nonprofits do is just try to do outreach in that way.
Mm-hmm. So for me, it's been great because I'm from the community that we're working in.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people just know me as me. And so now that I have a company, instead of asking me, I'm just like, well, why don't you have my company? Come do it, sort of thing. So just for me, leveraging the community relationships I already have. So I don't know, for instance, we just performed the companies performed at a gala a couple months ago. And it was a gala that a woman was throwing it was like a fundraiser, but it was a girl that I went to high school with, or we have a new partnership with South Shore Cultural Center. So we'll be housing a lot of our youth training company programming there starting in the fall. But we got that because I know the person that works there because I grew up with her daughter. You know what I mean? So it's just using I think people will be surprised if you just tap into the network that you already have. Mm-hmm. Just finding out what people are already doing and what's already available.
And then when you build out a great product or service or mission, I think that follows. It's not really you have to convince anyone. It's just having that conversation is probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And I want to talk about some of your programming because I want everyone to know about it.
Thank you.
You have the
youth training
company. My apologies.
Oh, that's okay.
Will you explain some of the other programming options that you have?
So there's a lot. So I don't know if you know about After School Matters, but it's a citywide program, and I think it's a private organization that runs it, but it's citywide, and they employ thousands of teens across the city of Chicago. So we're going to have our own After School Matters program starting this summer and running through the full year. And so we'll have teens who are a part of our advanced training program who are serious about dance and want an opportunity to train, but may not have the resources to do it someplace else. And so they'll come to us to train and to perform, and they'll also get paid to do it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So that's one. We have Autism Project, which is launching in the fall. And that is actually my initial vision for it was for it to be at the studio. But now that I'm looking at the logistics of that, it's going to end up being at a school after school. So that's a class that helps with mind-body connection and teaches social skills and does it through the art of dance. So that's also a new program that we're launching in the fall. There's so many.
Will you explain your the event that I'll be going to?
Yes.
And I think it's amazing because you have I forget what it's called, but a person who is here.
Oh, our international.
Yeah.
So we have a 3-year partnership with Chumna Art Center in Seoul, South Korea. And so Joseph Kim and Dancers is the group of artists we're working with. And so I actually went to Seoul in November and worked with Joseph on a piece. And he'll be here the end of April through the beginning of May to perform that piece we created together. But the professional company is actually going to Korea. So the whole group is going in November of this year. To continue working on a creative work. And so his company will come back to Chicago in April 2020, and we'll share our home season. So the show that you're coming to in May, we're going to have another home season next year at a different space. And so his entire company and my entire company will share a concert together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
I think that is creative in itself. I mean, I'm sure this is something that's common in dance and the arts, but it's just interesting to kind of combine different cultures and people who have they're also trained professionals and
Yeah.
just have them come in here and strut their stuff.
Yeah.
I guess is not the nice way to put it, but to share their expertise. So I like that. And you have a professional company. Is that comprised of the people who are your the trainers there, or other people as well?
So the professional company is kind of its own thing. So there's 7 dancers in the professional company. And a really big thing that I think people don't always get, I think people always assume like, oh, you're South Chicago, so your company must be all African American. But it's actually a multicultural company. So there's all different kinds of people in the organization. More repertory companies, so the dancers are versatile. They do jazz, modern, West African. They do like a little bit of everything. And so the company actually tours. So we have our home season every year in May. We usually do something in the wintertime around December, but then we also tour regionally and nationally as well. Mm-hmm. And we also do lots of random side gigs around the city. So yeah.
And is that something that they are compensated for, like through all the funding?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually not through the funding. So whenever we get hired, whenever we perform someplace, the dancers the company gets paid, and the dancers get paid from whatever the price we're hired for.
Okay.
So like, we just did a show at an elementary school, last month, and the school paid me and then I paid the dancers. So that's usually how it goes. Like I think this weekend we have a show that just so happens to be paying the dancers directly, but usually I get paid first and then I pay everyone else.
So you have so many programs. How do you decide, how many you have? What is too many? Do you have people who help you with all of this, the operations of it?
So yes and no. So I do have a board of directors for the company. And right now we have, including me, 12 board members. And so they help a lot with like promoting the organization and fundraising. But in terms of operations, I'm doing it now. It's just me because we're a new company, but it definitely is in my 5-year goal and plan to hire an executive director, because I would love to just be the artistic director and just do like the art part of it. But right now I'm enjoying doing both because it's helping me learn how a nonprofit should run. So, and
it seems it has grown. I don't know how many programs you had when you started, but it just seems so big that I'm surprised that you are doing most of the work by yourself.
Yeah, I have a lot of interfaith. It's just like, keep going.
Yeah, you can't stop. It's your company. I think that entrepreneurship is kind of, you have to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's all the questions I have regarding the company. I do want you to pitch your Beyond the Border, because I want everyone to get tickets if they can.
Awesome. Okay. So thank you for the opportunity. So if people are interested, our home season concert is at Stony Island Arts Bank. It's May 3rd and May 4th. And the show is called Dancing Beyond the Borderline, an immersive performance experience. And it's very exciting because the audience and the dancers will be on the same plane. It's in a gallery space. And so I don't know, I can't really say more than that. I don't want to spoil it, but it's going to be some really interesting work. It's a multidisciplinary show, so there'll be different styles performed. Some theatrical aspects are part of it as well. And tickets are $30. You can get them at southchicagodancetheater.com.
That was great. That was
awesome.
Like basically a commercial. I do actually have one more question, because you mentioned the board of directors. Yeah. And I think this is something in nonprofits that like people sometimes overlook. I don't know, do you have to have board of directors?
You have to be able to even fill out the paperwork. I think you have to at least have 4.
Okay. And how do you go about getting those people?
So yeah. So when I first did our paperwork, I honestly just asked my friends. Who I was like, so one of my friends is a lawyer, so I was like, okay, it'd be good to have a lawyer on the board, just to help with legal counsel if we needed our paperwork, sort of stuff. So I have one lawyer on the board. When we first started, I asked one of my friends is an educator and has been in education forever, and since we're working with students, I thought it'd be good to have him on the board. My cousin, who's on the board, has just been in the corporate world forever, and she's just very smart. And so I asked her to be our board president. And our board treasurer is another cousin who is an accountant. So
nice.
I just like chose people who are in fields that I thought would be helpful, giving advice. But I'm also a member of the Chicago Urban League.
Oh,
and so,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And so I was looking for more board members, and I just honestly, I sent a mass email to everyone. And I was like, I have this company and I need help. And surprisingly, a lot of people wrote back. So I ended up getting like 5 more board members from that. So yeah.
And there's a couple people at the firm who are board members of nonprofits. And I didn't even know like that was a thing until I reached adulthood. How do you suggest people who are looking to support the organizations they're passionate about to get on boards, and what does that even involve?
So that's also something I'm still learning about, but I know there's actually a lot of organizations in the city that are committed to helping build boards.
Oh.
And so I only know about the arts related ones. So like the Arts and Business Council of Chicago, they have a program called onboarding, where they will train people who are interested in being on a board and place them in a company. I think also the Field Foundation of Illinois has a similar program. But I kind of just did it. I just asked people I knew. That's something I'm still learning about, to be honest. But I think if you're interested in being on a board, I think that what I've heard people do is just kind of start going to the events and finding out about the company and just expressing interest.
Yeah.
Because from my experience, nonprofits are always interested in having people help. Yeah. So like, yeah.
There's never shortage of that.
Yeah.
Those opportunities.
Yeah.
But do you have meetings, or what's their roles, I guess?
So I think every board is different. So some boards are financial boards. So each board member has to pay a certain amount of money to be a part of it. And that's to help the organization. And so that might just be the board. They just pay a certain fee, a donation, I guess, and that's all they do. My board is not a financial board, but they are more what is like a hands-on board. So I need help with anything. I just call. Like one of my board members is great with social media, so he does all of our social media stuff.
Oh wow.
One of my board members is great with event planning, so she helps me with like the logistics of our May event that we do every year. But honestly, I think every board is kind of unique. And we're definitely growing. We're actually going to have our very first retreat this summer, board retreat.
That's cool.
And have someone help us kind of get even more like streamlining what it is that we do to be the most effective board that we can.
Kind of like a strategic planning meeting.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I think on your website you have like annual meeting minutes or something. That's part of
annual report.
Annual report. And that's part of your due diligence as well, right?
Yes.
These are all things if you're listening to this, I know a few people who want to start nonprofits. I'm like, if you're reading this, or just companies in general, like are listening to this, you need to write these things down.
There's so much. And I didn't realize, because I was like, I just want to start a dance company. But it's like, okay, I'm doing a lot of paperwork, but it's so worth it. If it's something if you want to start a nonprofit, it's something you're passionate about, the paperwork is worth it. So
I feel like I already know this answer. If you were to go back and you had the option of starting or having just a for-profit dance company,
oh no,
you're like, nope, still worth it. See, so it pays off, everyone. You get to live out your passion and help people at the same time. I mean, dance companies, they do that anyway, but it's an added bonus for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to switch to our next segment, which is highlights and lowlights, which basically part of our mission here at the Here We Glow podcast is for me to be transparent in my journey of glowing up personally and professionally. So by doing that, I express some lowlights that I've been facing recently and then some highlights. I invite my guests to do the same. You don't have to be as transparent as me. I really haven't said anything. I don't know. I really haven't been like too vulnerable. I don't know. People say that you're like, you're so vulnerable. I'm like, I feel like I'm not adding. I say the same thing every week that I need to work out. Like, so I'll start with my lowlights. I was running behind on a few essays for this class I'm in.
Are you in school?
I'm in law school.
Oh.
So I'm in my last year.
Where do you go?
Chicago, Kent.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had no idea. Cool.
So I'm in my last semester, but I'm taking this bar prep essay course, which is awesome. But I missed a class, and we had some over spring break that we need to do. But I'm catching up slowly, so it's subtle highlight. But I felt like overwhelmed almost.
Yeah.
Like I'm behind. I need to catch up, but I need to just face that head on.
Yeah.
Because they are good practice for the bar prep this summer.
Mm-hmm.
That's really my only low light really lately.
You're amazing. You're in school and you work here. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow.
Have to. But I love working here. So it's nothing. But any low lights for you, or everything's peachy keen? That's good.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I think my thing is I'm also in school. I'm in grad school.
Oh, I didn't know that. We're learning about each other, everyone, as we're...
Yeah, and I am ready to be done. I graduate in 8 weeks, and I'm walking in 8 weeks. I have to finish writing my thesis over the summer, but I'm really I've also been feeling a little overwhelmed because like the company is what I'm doing and this is my work, but grad school, I'm in it. And so I need to do it, but it's like, balancing.
Where are you going?
So I go to a low residency program at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee.
Oh, nice.
So I went there this past summer and the summer before to be on campus and study. But during the year, you do independent study, which they trick you. They make you feel like the independent study isn't a lot, but it's actually a lot of work and a lot of writing. So like grant writing and school writing. I'm like, I don't have a life.
What are you getting your master's in?
I'm getting a Master of Fine Arts in Dance.
Oh, yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And you were over here running a company. You have like 2 full-time jobs, basically.
Well, actually, and I also have jobs outside of the company because I don't actually yet. I will eventually make a salary, but right now, I actually also teach dance at other places.
Wow. You're the type of people. It's like you, Beyonce, and my boss. So I'm just like, everyone has the same 24 hours. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm so tired. I can't. So that definitely motivated me, and you're awesome. And I hope you have time in the future to kind of relax and debrief. So
you too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wait, when are you done?
In May, and then I study for the bar, and that's in July, and then
awesome. You're almost there.
So highlights. I felt super energized today. One of the things I've been working on is just making sure I remain consistent energy throughout the day.
Yeah.
And I felt that way. And that's a really small highlight. I have another.
That's a good highlight.
I have another highlight, but I'm not going to share it yet. I'm going to wait. But Glowhort, it's a good highlight. Can't wait. It's nothing like crazy. Well, actually it is. But
now I want to know.
I know. I'll tell you off. But any highlights for you?
Highlights. Trying to think. I mean, I feel like honestly, good things are always happening. Okay, so today for the youth training company, it was parent visiting day. So the parents come to visit one time a semester to watch because I don't let them watch. I'm like, you can't sit in my class. Just the kids.
It's not like Abby Lee's dance.
No, I'm like, you can't sit in here. But today the parents all came to watch and I put them all on the spot. I was like, kids, do you want to see your parents dance? And they were like, yay! And the parents were all like,
I hate this. I did not sign up for this.
Yeah. So the parents all did like a little mini jazz warm up with the kids and it was super cute and it made me smile. It was like a dance dad, like uncoordinated completely, but like trying so hard.
They were like, next time.
It was great.
You're the parents going. That's awesome. I like that. Those are like my favorite videos too.
Yeah, yeah.
The one, especially when it's like the dads who are working so hard. They really show out.
Yeah.
Any other highlights?
No, I mean, I'm sure I could think of a million things. This is actually a really good time in my life. So it's like always good. I think there's always good things happening. So yeah.
That's awesome. And then our last segment is just shout outs. And I only have one, my younger sister,
Oh.
she just got Sierra Brown. She just got a new job in her field. I know she's been looking for a while. And I was proud of her because I think she found like a job in the meantime in between jobs and just making things work. So
that's awesome.
Shout out to you, Sierra. I'm really proud of you. Good to see you in a couple weeks for like a Bulls game and family fun. So
what does she do?
She's in healthcare. So this is bad, but she has some degree or something in I don't want to.
Is it like management or something?
No, it's like actual I don't know what it's called. I can't think. Something assistant. Like that sort of career, but it's like in a hospital, those types of careers. So I'm not sure if that's what she's doing right now, but I should ask her.
Yeah, cool.
Any shout outs? And I want to shout you out and your dance company because I'm excited. I'm going to go there. They do First Fridays, everyone.
Yeah.
And it's a free dance class at night. And sometimes they change the genres and it's for people of all levels. And I'm going to try it. I haven't danced in so long. I'm not flexible.
You'll be fine. Trust me. It's great. You'll be fine.
But shout out to you and that invite. I'm sure you're going to remind me. Like,
yeah.
Are you coming? Yeah. Any shout outs for you?
Shout out to my little brother who he and I are graduating a week apart from each other. So he just finished his bachelor's degree in creative writing. So shout out to you, Ram, and congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. Yeah.
Where is he live in the city?
Yeah. I mean, he lives in the south suburbs, but he went to Columbia. Finished up at Columbia.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, shout out to you.
Talented.
All right. So that wraps up our show. Thank you, Kia, so much for taking the time after you were teaching dance this evening to share your mission and some insight on the nonprofit sector. I'll be sure to include your information regarding South Chicago Dance Theater, upcoming events and everything. And be sure to like us on Facebook and Instagram and all that. And until next time, Blowhort, take care.